Welcome back to the channel. All right, so I've been down a few rabbit holes and I wanted to try to finish up what I started. This is chapter 87. This is the first part of the video that I'm going to finish today. Mechezah, a lighted spot. And we're not going to finish it because she has like 4 or 5 stories that she tells us. And let me read the title since we're starting in the middle of the book. I just give you the title and the page number. It's on page 935 in the Holy Megillah Nasarean Bible of the Essene Way. This is chapter 87, and it's titled "The Companions Visit Wizardess Mechezah, widow of Zebulon the wizard, at hot springs on the east side of the Jordan River." And you know, I was going to say in a deluxe apartment in the sky because that's where Mechezah is from. She is from El Cush. And hopefully you know what El Cush is, but she was living in El Cush, saw something happening on Earth with her crystal ball, and she jumped dimensions. And so she has all of her memories. This first video is about a story when she was little, and she met Rachamaya, which is one of Enoch's older sisters, one of Abigail and Isha's daughter. Now she's the angel of love for the Essene tree of life. And so Rachamaya is what her name is now. And Mechezah just told us that whole story about when they were young and how she saved her life. And she also saved this other slave's life. And then they ended up all becoming Nazareans and able to live in ancient Eden. And so she does say in this first video too, don't be surprised that my stories are talking about ancient Eden, because I lived there and I remembered, because she tells us that in El Cush, when you finally get to El Cush, which is like, it's just the first heaven in this chain of 7 heavens. This earth used to be the first heaven, but it's fallen. And when you get to El Cush, you have all of your memories. You remember all of your past incarnations. And so that's why I call it, it's a deluxe apartment in the sky. She's going to go on to explain to us about, she calls it the multi-layered universe and a multi-layered soul. So we want to stick to the end of this story. We have like 2 more before she tells the story about how she popped back on Earth and got all her memories. But that's important for you to know as you're hearing her talk to us now, is that she has all of her memories. And they're talking to the Lord and the Lady Christ and all of their disciples, which are called the companions. And so they're all at her house right now, and she just told them about Rachamael, and now she's about to start. We're going to pick it up in 187. Mechezah fulfilled her promise to provide us with advice in regards to communing with Rachamael, the angel of love of the Essene tree of life. She said, the main thing that I want to encourage you to do is, when you commune with Rachamael, is to realize that she is a very real living being, and that you can have a personal loving relationship with her. I am now going to try to explain a mystery that I can't really fully explain. Truly, this mystery is not fully explainable in any language that I know, and I know many languages. Though this mystery cannot be fully explained, at least not by me, I will try best to give you a general understanding of it, for I believe it will help you commune with Rachamael in a more personal way. She says, you may wonder how, if 100 or 1,000 persons were to commune with Rachamael simultaneously, she could pay personal attention to any one of them. The answer is that she can, due to the following mysterious truth. When the installation of a being as the chief messenger angel of the tree of life occurs, behold, they are mysteriously given the ability to have a one-on-one communion relationship, even simultaneously, with each and every person that sincerely enters that relationship. I know that this is true. In truth, I am from El Cush, and know this is a fact, and yet I cannot explain how it is done. What I have just revealed about communing with Rachamael, the angel of love, is equally true of each of the chief messenger angels of the Essene tree of life. Yea, it is the ability given to them at the time of their installation to that office that makes it possible for each of us to commune with them in a very personal, one-on-one way. Believe me, if you accept this truth and act on it, your communion experience with the angels of the Essene Tree of Life will be much deeper. After Mechezah had completed the above remarks, Johann asked, "May I ask you a question that I am sure the rest of my brother and sister will also enjoy hearing answered?" Mechezah smiled and replied, "Considering how I quizzed you at the beginning of my talk, I suppose turnabout is fair play. You may ask your question." Johann said, "In your talk about Rachama, you mentioned that you are from El Kush. I asked, why then have you come again to this world?" Mechezah replied, "There are many reasons that a soul from El Kush might return to this world by taking birth. That is not uncommon. However, I was not born into this world, and my manner of returning here was not common. To answer your question, I must tell yet another story. Does this assembly of the companions of the Lord and the Lady have the stamina to sit through another one of my stories?" Hearing the entire group give an enthusiastic yes, in reply, Mechezah told the following story. After my life as a friend of Rachama in El Kush, behold, I lived 2 more incarnations on earth prior to my ascension to El Kush. El Kush is like what you read in the Matanah, where it describes what the original Edenite atmosphere was like before the fall of mankind. Mechezah then quoted from memory the following pages of the Matanah portion of the Holy Megillah. Behold, the bodies of Adam and Eve were not like our flesh. They were of a flesh that need not die. Though their flesh radiated the gleam of light, and the garden was beautiful, it was a place of delight. The colors of the soil, plants, flowers, and sky were vivid and radiant. The scent of the garden was sweet, and the animals were friendly and harmed not each other, nor ate each other, nor did they harm Adam and Eve. Even so, the animals were of mortal flesh, for animals are souls who have not yet obtained immortal bodies, and mankind was to be their guide and example. But even the mortal flesh of the animals gleamed and was of a different nature than today, being lighter and sparkling with innocence. And the water was clear and sweet, yea, and the sounds of the garden were joyful and happy. Yea, that is all still true of El Kush, yet there is more that I will now share. Just as it is hard for the human mind to grasp the reality that a chief angel of the Essene Tree of Life can hold personal one-on-one communion with thousands of persons simultaneously, so is the following information hard to grasp. Each person for every soul is a person, a spiritual personality. In El Kush, they have access to the shared group reality of El Kush and also a personal mansion of many rooms. I use the word mansion to convey the idea of a personal abode of many chambers, each chamber or room being for a different purpose. For example, there is a different room linked specifically to each different incarnation one has lived. One can choose. Nobody ever forces such a choice to enter that room and study various aspects of that incarnation, looking for greater insights and realizations that aid our ongoing spiritual development. Although I'm referring to this chamber as a room, it is not a room confined to a specific amount of space, and one can conjure what one sees in the room by simply deciding what one wants to see and work on. And behold, within any one of these rooms, there are various related rooms, and only you decide which to enter. And you can exit simply by wishing to. There is nothing scary or nightmarish about it, and you are always in full control. So, for example, I can enter the room dedicated to one of my past incarnations, and in that room can enter a room that is dedicated to all of my life experiences related to any particular other person that I knew in that lifetime. There, I can review, in the position of an invisible bystander, any of the interactions that I had with that person, looking to learn lessons from the past to aid my future soul development. Furthermore, from that room or chamber dedicated to my interactions with that particular person, I can enter another room that enables me to study how those interactions affected that person and others, seeing how the ripples of these interactions waved outward to alter the group experience of the whole world, or any chosen aspect of the world. Now, behold, I have briefly described a few rooms and rooms within rooms of the personal mansions of many rooms. So I said it is a deluxe apartment in the sky, man. And she says the few examples of countless possibilities that I have thus far given are related to doing personal work, lessons, learning lessons that aid our ongoing work of soul development. But I would also have you know that there are rooms and rooms within those rooms dedicated to play and fellowship. One of those rooms, this is what got me so excited, this room right here. She says, one of those rooms is that which I call visiting friends and relatives from past incarnation for present moment fellowship. I thought about all the cookouts and the family reunions. Boy, yeah, I probably would stay too long in that room. And then it says, as hard as it may be for your human mind to grasp how Rachamaya can commune with many persons one-on-one simultaneously, the following will be even more challenging to grasp. In the room called Visiting Friends and Relatives from Past Incarnations for Present Moment Fellowship, you are not simply observing past interactions to learn from, nor are these visitations mere fantasies. Rather, Jaja and Elohim so designed the multi-layered universe and multi-layered souls so that below or perhaps above the conscious awareness of any particular person living a particular incarnation, there is the ability to simultaneously visit and fellowship with other souls in these rooms that were created for that purpose. So I can visit with my parents, children, friends, and only those that I choose to visit with, being forced to visit none. And regardless of how lengthy the visit seems to be, when I step out of the visitation room, lo, virtually no time has passed in the objective group experience world of the realm I or they currently live in. I wish to add that the visitation room can accommodate whatever shared experience we choose to have. We can go horseback riding together, attend a sporting event, or sit beneath a tree and talk, whatever we choose. When I first came to El Cush and experienced this wonder, I contemplated on the theme of why. I asked, why is it this way? And at that moment, the Lord and the Lady appeared to me and said, when Jaja contemplated the divine plan, they contemplated more details than can be written down in any book. Not even the Megillah reports all of the fruit of their divine contemplation, which according to the Megillah lasted for fathomless duration. Wherefore, realizing that in a cosmic school system for the training of souls, some souls will ascend the spiral ladder of being faster than others, perhaps faster than their parents or children or friends. And Jaja chose to provide this manner of visitation between souls of various locations on the spiral. That was my answer from Jade and Janah, who, as the Megillah teaches, can appear in countless realms simultaneously. Mechezah paused and glanced at Yeshua and Miriam and then said, in other words, the answer to my question, why, is Jaja thought of everything before setting the divine plan into motion. The fact is that it would be somewhat cruel if we could not have ongoing visitation rights with those many souls that in our many incarnations we've come to love. In the heavenly realm of El Cush, we remember all of our past incarnations and so remember all of our past loved ones. Isn't that beautiful? She keeps going to explain. Okay, so we're all the way at verse 247. Okay, we got a few more to go to finish out this story about El Cush. I was joking around. She talks about the El Cushian nights, and I was singing Arabian Nights, but this is really something. I mean, I had to read this a few times, so it's really starting to sink in. And this is just amazing. I mean, man, it really brings my soul comfort. And it's also like a knowing the stuff that she's telling us. about the multi-layered universe and how it's just, man. And it says, in the heavenly realm of El Kush, we remember all of our past incarnations. So I've always had this feeling that everything is going to be all right, and it is. Jaja thought of everything before setting the divine plan into motion. So she says in verse 247, I will share one more aspect of this personal mansions of many rooms before I move on to the described objective shared group reality of El Kush and how I came to return to Earth. I want to share that Jaja also provided that we not get so caught up in these visitations that we neglect our current incarnation. I know, because I said I would be in that I'd be in that room with my past. Oh man. So listen what she said. I don't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry. She said Jaja also provided that we not get so caught up in these visitations that we neglect our current incarnation in El Kush or wherever. Our time to use these rooms is during the roughly 1/3 of each day in which we sleep. However, sleep in El Kush is different than on Earth. In El Kush, we simply relax on our backs or sitting and enter a deep relaxation period. Unlike sleep on Earth, in El Kush, we are fully conscious, and if we choose to do so, we can play, study, or visit in these rooms. In that case, we consciously choose what we want to do. Our other option during this El Kushian equivalent of sleep time is to experience the El Kushian equivalent of human dreaming. In that case, rather than us deciding which rooms to enter and what we will do, we simply relax and affirm that Jaja will guide us to experience what is perfect for our current needs. We will then enter whatever rooms Jaja or the mechanisms that Jaja has put into place for this selects. Because I have made many friends in El Kush, I can accurately report that, like me, most El Kushians seem to do about half of each, spend half of the sleep time choosing which rooms to enter, and the other half in the dream state in which we experience whatever rooms Jaja chooses for us. So like on Earth, about 1/3 of our time is spent in sleep time. This occurs during the El Kushian night, time when the El Kushian moon dominates the sky. Though the El Kushian sleep is more similar to meditation than Earth sleep, that prevents us from getting overly caught up in the experiences available in these rooms, assuring that for 2/3 of each El Kushian day, when the El Kushian sun dominates the sky, we fully engage with objectives, here and now, life experiences. The El Kushian sun is in another dimension than the Earth sun, but it is related to it. The Elcushian moon is not the same thing as the Earth's moon, but is similar in that it is a softer glowing light than the daytime sun. I call it a moon because it seems to serve a similar purpose as the Earth's moon, giving a calmer, mellower glow than the sun, enabling the Elcushian form of sleep. The fact In fact, though I will not now speak on the topic, the most ancient form of Nasarean astrology, the form that existed when Eden was the first heaven before the fall of mankind, was based on the Elcushian sun and Elcushian moon and the 12 soul pathways related to them. But that is another story. So we're all the way at verse 264, and she is finally about to tell us the story of how she got back on Earth. She says, I will now shift to my description of how I returned to Earth without being born as a baby. And she's going to explain about the objective shared group reality of El Kush. So she just explained about the personal and your personal mansion and ovum and what it's like for each individual. Wow. So yeah, like I said, we're not gonna finish this today, but I'm gonna get the rest of her stuff up here. It'll just be about her and where she lived in that deluxe apartment in the sky. Moving on up. That's just because you know the title said they were on the east side of the Jordan River. So this whole video and every time I'm reading here, I'm thinking about this deluxe apartment that she did have. And she tells you where it was. It was right next to the Rainbow Bridge. So she was, yeah. Well, I'm going to just get out of here for now. I'll do all that talking when I bring out the last part of this Mechezah, the lighted spot. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm sorry the video's so long, or I would just talk all about all these things she brought up. But I'll talk about them in the last video. Then that way, it'll be all evened out. Okay, guys. Be well. I'll be back soon. Thank you. All right, we got a new moon coming up. So make sure you're in the attitude of gratitude on this day around 6 p.m. East Coast time.